Hey, Tess. I just had some feedback. I've got a bunch of stuff hooked up. I'm recording. I wrote 3 pieces of music this weekend, and I've been playing a lot, and my fingers are sore. My fingertips get sore. Part of it might be the fact that I only have 2 fingers to fret because of a lawnmower accident. These 2, the tops are funky on them. They were cut off to the bone. Actually, the bone was sticking out on this one. Anyway, that's not the topic of this video, but I will say that because of all of the notes that I do play when I'm fretting, and that there's only 2 fingers to fret them with instead of having 4, it would be theoretically half the work for this skin and these fingertips. So I get sore. I do. I've built up calluses, and then they've come off when I've stopped playing. It seems like lately this might be something about my age, where as I'm getting older my skin is changing and it hurts more, because man. Anyway, when I particularly find an issue is switching over after tracking guitar and then having to use bass. These strings are murder. It gets to be so painful that I can't do it. So I came up with a solution that works very well for me. Mind you, it's not ideal. What would be ideal is if I found another way somehow to not hurt my fingers, have these strings damaging my fingers. Now, for bass guitar, there's something called flat tape wounds that you can get, and that is like the best way I could describe it is a coating of like clearish black plastic over the strings to make them actually smooth, and that works really well. Those tape wounds, I actually, they're kind of expensive. They're like $35 a set. Maybe they were 30, but they weren't 20. And when you haven't worked because of a back injury and money is tight, believe me, $30, announcing that to your wife that you want to try some new type of strings for her and you've never used them and they're expensive. So I emailed around and I asked my favorite bass player, a guy by the name of Bob Neiswanger from Cincinnati. He's my favorite bass player that I'm comfortable asking him a question and thinking he probably would reply, and he did, and he told me he hated tape wounds. Now, he is a incredibly proficient veteran on the bass, and when you get to that level, anything that's going to change the feel or the tone of the instrument is probably immediately going to be written off as not good, not for him. And I believe that was the case because there is a compromise when you use those tape wound strings. But I would say I would really recommend them if you're a guitar player who records music, and when you get to that point of playing the bass tracks, you run into this ouchie town. Ow, ow, wow, ooh, does that hurt business. So here's another thing you can do. This is hockey tape. It says Comp-O Stick. It's fabric tape. And the bad thing about this tape is that it's kind of gloopy. It's got a lot of adhesive. It's messy tape. And to get around that, what I do, in this case, I went one over and then I'm trimming off the sides. And then what I'm going to do is go just below the line and wrap it with masking tape once around to get a base. Then I'm going to go once over the top, and I'm going to go once over the side. I have two little scissors that I sit with. They're both gone. It's kind of messy in here. I'm recording, and I don't have my glasses on because I don't like wearing my glasses in videos. So here is a snips that's going to have to do the job. I find what works for me is putting the masking tape on neatly and trimming off any excess. And then also another neat trick is to apply, here's a scissors. I had it in my lap. Apply a little baby powder. That's a Jeff Beck. Part of what Jeff Beck, his rig rundown, when you watch his rig rundown, he has a container of baby powder on his amplifier when he plays. He doesn't have much, Jeff Beck, as far as gadgets and accessories to aid him in his guitar playing, but what he does have is some baby powder. Now this is a container of Gold Bond. This is medicated stuff, and I think one of my kids had a rash, and that's how we ended up with that. But I like the size of the container, so I repurposed it by adding my own just regular baby powder to it. And now my fingers are all taped up. As you can see, they're taped up pretty good. They're not very neat, but this will do for playing the bass, especially if you have parts with slides and things. You'll even have to replace that tape. But what I find is if I use just the masking tape, it isn't enough. It still hurts. The combination of this cloth tape gives this a really good base to stick. This doesn't come off. Because I've used, like, if you don't have anything, I used to use electrical tape and then put this over it. Because I wanted two different types of tape. I wanted to really pad it out and make it comfy for my fingers. And yes, I understand. I mean, it's going to restrict your movement. I've done this for the guitar. I've been in situations where I was recording music on a kind of a deadline doing pro demo work. And if you've ever done that, you know that the people that send the pedals out are very impatient. They want that demo done now, So I used to do things like not sleep and hurt my fingers, but I don't do that anymore. I guess, I kind of do. Here I am with the sore fingers, and that was just because a little overzealous writing and playing. I was watching Paul Gilbert. Man, he's so good. And Steve Vai, and some of their lesson stuff. And then just like, my heart just sinking because I only have two fingers to play my guitar, so hey, I do my best, and sometimes my fingers get tore up. That's how I tape up. If you got any ideas or solutions, I'd love to hear them. Take care, you guys. Maybe I'll put together a non-type video for one of these songs. You could hear the demo and slap it up on my channel so you could check it out. I can't promise much as far as the video goes, but I like the song. There's 3 of them. So we'll see. It depends on how much I get done. Maybe I'll put up. I mean, mind you, these are demos. They're not. I'm not going to the extent that I do when I record for an album. So this is like my demo recording. So mind you of that. Anyway, thanks and tape up.